Guys, listen to me very carefully. If you're going to try to play tricky opening lines, make sure you remember them. If you're going to experiment with a tricky opening line, there is a very big risk you might get into trouble, which this game is going to illustrate. So please pay close attention so you don't make the same mistakes that I made. All right, let's take a look. So this is round number 5. I'm playing against someone who's rated 1916 FIDE. I think they're like 2000 something USCF. We both had 2 points out of 4 going into this. Now, you have to remember, this is coming off my previous loss where I got absolutely crushed and was like so cramped and I couldn't even move. Well, going into this game, I was like, okay, that is not going to happen again. I am going to play much more aggressively and try to just play according to my style. Okay, that's fine, but let's just take a look and you'll see where the mistake happened. So I played e4. And I played the bishop's opening. Now, this is not to try to checkmate our opponent in 4 moves, although this is how some beginner games start for that reason. It's basically just trying to like trick the opponent into maybe going into a line that they're not familiar with by switching up the move order. They played knight f6 and I played d4. This is the Yurosov gambit. There are some very tricky lines here. And so I was, happy to go into this. They captured. I played knight f3. They can take here, and I was going to take with the queen, but they actually played knight c6, and we transposed back into a Scotch gambit, okay? So I castled. They captured the pawn, and I played the move rook e1. Now, what you need to understand about everything that we've played so far, all of these moves are very well-known opening theory, okay? So anybody with a basic knowledge of the Scotch gambit is going to know this line. It looks dangerous for black, but it's actually not. They played d5, which is the best move. And right here, I made a decision. Now, I was getting the vibe that my opponent was pretty comfortable with this line. Now, the main line and what I was considering playing was bishop takes d5. And you might say, Nelson, is that not a blunder? Well, it's actually a really cool tactic. You take that, you play knight c3. This is pinned, so they can't take you here or they lose the queen. This is pinned, so they can't take you there because that's an illegal move. So it's actually a fork, okay? And then the main line, I believe they can either go to either of these squares, I think is fine for black. Let's just pick one at random. We'll say queen a5. And then you take the knight back. It still looks scary for black, but it's actually not. They can block, I think, with bishop e6 or bishop e7. And, you move the knight, and the game goes on. It's equal. You can see the E level. It's just equal position. Fine. I knew this, and I could have played this, and I should have played this. Well, I did not play that. So I actually had looked at a very tricky line in this position, and I was like, you know what? Let's now's as good a time as any to, we'll try it. Like, why not? I played the move knight g5. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Nelson, that looks like a blunder, minus 2.4 for black. Well, I knew that going into this. Like, I knew that it was not a good line, but I also knew that it was extremely tricky if I played it correctly. This is what I remembered about the line. They take your bishop, and you go queen h5, checkmate threat. Most people are like, what is he doing? They're going to block the queen and check this move out. Knight takes e4. What is happening? Checkmate on the board. Look at that. That's a nice trap, right? So, of course, they're not going to take your queen. I think they go bishop e6, and your queen comes over here, and they're supposed to play like king d7. I mean, who would want to play this, right? Your king's on d7. Now, yeah, the engine says black is winning, but like, this is fun for white. There's all kinds of tricky things here. So I'm like, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. But my opponent did not take the bishop. They played bishop e7. It's not the greatest move, but only if I play the correct move. And here's the problem. I forgot the correct move. And for some reason, I couldn't figure it out. And I actually totally blundered. I don't even know. I just played queen h5 because I'm pretty sure you can still play queen h5 here. And I totally overlooked the fact that no, you can't. They just take my knight. I'm like, wait a second. I don't have anything. I literally just gave up a free piece for absolutely no reason. Just because I got the lines confused. That's it. Like, it's just a blunder. It's just, here's a free piece. The move that I was supposed to play, knight takes f7. It's a fork, obviously, so they take me. Now you go queen h5 check. If they block, you take here with the bishop. Now things are getting tricky. If the king goes here, the bishop comes in, and I'm totally winning. If the king goes here, again, the queen or the bishop coming to h8, I'm totally winning. So here, this is the line. Now the queen comes to e5. This is very tricky for black. I mean, look at the king. It's in the middle. We've got two pieces lined up. I'm attacking the rook. Like, this is what I wanted. I forgot the line. I couldn't figure it out at the game for some reason. I played this ridiculous move, queen h5. I'm like, okay, it is move 8. It is move 8, and I am lost. I'm done. This is what can happen if you try to play a tricky line and you don't remember. So if you don't remember the line completely, just don't do it. Like, just don't do it. Don't be like me. I took here. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm down at full piece with zero compensation. Not to mention black has 2 amazing pawns here. So there's that too. I played knight d2. I'm trying to get my other pieces in the game. They castled. I decided to sacrifice my rook. Now, actually, something really funny happened here. So I decided to sacrifice my rook. I mean, I knew the game was over at this point. Unless my opponent makes a huge blunder, it's over, right? But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just take this and bring my other rook over. At least I get a little bit of an attack. It's not even really an attack. It's just like I'm trying to make an attack, okay? So right at this moment, there's people walking by, and people stop and look at the board and they're like, oh, that's an interesting position, And I kept seeing people's faces when they would look at my position, and it was just kind of like, wait, what? And I'm sure what they were thinking is like, why is there not a rook on a1? Like, did the rook like get knocked off and nobody noticed? Like people are like looking, they see that like he captured the rook, and they're like, what is going on? Because if you put a rook here, we would probably have a somewhat equal position where it's like, okay, I'm down some pawns, but I have a little bit of an attack. So I'm just like kind of laughing on the inside, like watching people look at my game and like, like, what is going on? What is wrong with Nelson? Like, he's just missing a rook. Did he play rook odds or something? So that was funny, but not really funny when you get destroyed. Anyway, I brought my knight in. Maybe if black does something like really ridiculous, like rook b8, and then we go here, and then they do something ridiculous like rook a8, we can try to generate an attack, but even here they still are winning with knight f5. So I mean, that's how bad my position is. Like, they could literally like move the rook back and forth twice like that and give me a couple of free attacking moves, and I can't even generate an attack. So anyway, back to the game. They played bishop f5. I took here, took the bishop. You might say, oh, it's not so bad. You got a knight for a rook, right? No, I don't. He's got the pawns. He's got the pin. I have absolutely nothing. Like, you could see the eval. He plays queen e6, great move, forcing my queen away, getting ready to push the pawns or play f5 and take advantage of the pin. I played here. My idea is that if you play f5, now I can play knight f6 check. I'm still totally losing, by the way, but I was hoping for some sort of miracle like this, right? Of course, none of this happened, but you never know. He played d3, good move. I brought my rook up so that it's at least defended against the pin. Brilliant move for the opponent. Sacrifices the queen. And you might say, okay, it's a queen versus 2 rooks. Now you have a chance, right? No chance. I'm about to get checkmated. I played f3. It doesn't really matter. I could move my king. I could create an escape square. He's going to push his pawn and do this regardless. He goes check, and he plays d2. I cannot stop this. I mean, I can stop it, but it's going to cost me my queen. So it's 2 rooks against king. So I resigned right here. Look, I mean, this is really bad. Like, I wanted to play a tricky line. I knew I was not going to have a great position, but I was like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be a tricky game. And believe it or not, this move actually has a 71% win rate in the Masters database online. So, like, it's a very tricky move. And yeah, if you're going to play a tricky line, you have to know what it is, right? Otherwise, you might be the one who gets tricked. So, yeah, I mean, both of the last games I lost in like 20 couple, 22, 23 moves, something like that. I'm a fly stuck in a tar bucket. I mean, what can I say? No, but seriously, like I would appreciate it if you guys like leave a comment. Let me know like what do you think I need to do? What's the problem? Give me some advice. I'm all ears. I have 2 more rounds tomorrow. I don't even know what to say about. I don't know what I'm gonna play. I'm yeah. Anyway, yeah. Don't really have much else to tell you guys. I'll see you next time.